This weekend, the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama becomes the first professional racing series ever to run at a Porsche Rennsport reunion. While surrounded by thousands of Porsches and Porsche fans, these drivers will attempt to master picturesque Laguna Seca. While fans snap pictures at the infamous corkscrew, the drivers will battle in the final race of their championship. Elliott Skier, Angel Benitez, and Jesse Lazare continue their fierce season-long battle as these three drivers are the only ones to take wins in the Platinum class and overall this year. But this weekend, 2014 Platinum Class champion Colin Thompson joins the field in his first event of 2015. In the Gold class, Jeff Mosing has locked up the championship, but he has no plans to let anyone else step on the top step of the podium. Will Skier, Benitez, and Lazare continue their trend and take the top spot for themselves, or will last year's titleists reclaim the podium? We will find out next. Hi everybody and welcome to beautiful Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. I'm Greg Creamer, going to be joined by Colin Brown for the call here. And Colin, as we take a look here, as if the pressure of running at Porsche's Rennsport reunion isn't enough for these guys, this track is a tough one to decide championships.
Absolutely, Greg. I mean, this is a very low grip surface, really challenging place to pass, so it's going to be interesting to watch what these guys can do.
Interestingly, at least the weather is playing out beautiful. I mean, look at the temperature, 71 degrees. This is about as nice as it gets. Now, folks, if you're just joining us for the first time this year, there are two different categories of cars that are running. To recognize the Platinum class, take a look at those black number panels, the black side mirrors, and the black windshield banner. To take a look and recognize the Gold class, you just look at the same areas of the car, but it'll be a gold background for the number panel, a gold mirror, and a gold windshield banner. The difference, the cars are very similar. The Platinum class is much more aggressive aerodynamically. As always, a doubleheader weekend, and yesterday's 15th round of the championship was a beauty. Elliott Skier jumped out to the lead, but Jay Patel in the early going, along with the 89 of Oscar Arroyo, had a bit of a moment, but they regained the track. It stayed green, and Jesse Lazare and Angel Benitez got into a great scrap, but it was for second because up front, Elliott Skier was disappearing. Jeff Mosing continuing a remarkable run this year on his way to his 8th win and 11th in Gold Masters. Oscar Arroyo and Kurt Kazikas having a bit of an issue. That did prompt a caution, but in the end, Elliott Skier went on to claim a dominant win and with it, a championship in 2015. Pretty amazing considering this time last year, he had no idea what he was going to be doing. And Jeff Mosing just continued to stretch his margin over Yano and Catania. However, Yano and Catania, that's a battle we're going to be watching here as the rest of this day unfolds because they are in a fierce battle for second in that championship. But your Platinum Cup champion for 2015, crowned in round 15 with his 5th win, Elliott Skier. What a remarkable story it is. So now we take a look at the cars as they're heading out on their pace and parade lap, and let's take a look at the championship points as they stand. In the Platinum class, you see Skier, 20 points for a win. There's only one race left, so 27 more than enough over Lazare. He's got a nice gap over Benitez, who missed a couple of races early in the season. Then Long and Coleman rounding out your top 5. Casey Coleman at Circuit of the Americas a race ago already clinched the Masters Championship. In the Gold class, it's been all Mosing all year long. In that 15th round, as I said, he got his 8th win in Gold and 11th win in Gold Masters. It has been a dominant season for Jeff Mosing in that Gold Cup category. We hear his last. He might well be moving up to Platinum next year. And as we look at these gentlemen, they're casual now, but not for long. When we come back, we're going green. Stay with us. Welcome back to our coverage of the 16th and final round of the 2015 Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. And Colin, you can see the cars obviously doing a bit of scrubbing. Heat, cleaning the tires, probably more important for this race than any other this year.
Absolutely. These guys don't have the Tudor rubber they're used to racing on. They also have a lot of historic cars out there dropping oil on the sessions right before them, so it's going to be hard.
Yep, it's going to be interesting. Here's our grid. Elliott Skier on the pole. Colin Thompson really gathered it up in qualifying for this one. Jesse Lazare. Angel Benitez had a little brake issue in qualifying, he said. They've got that sorted out. Lucas Catania, who's been a real find this year, along with veteran Michael Shine. In 4th row, Casey Coleman already clinched the Masters Championship. Great to see Jesse Menser here making his first start of the 2015 season, always quick. David Ducote, who's been running in Gold for the last year and a half, is now running in Platinum for this one. Interesting story there. As you take a look at row 7, Creel and Jay Patel. Now in row 8, you see our Gold champion, Jeff Mosing, doing what he does, put it on pole. He also has a couple of platinum guys. There's John Getz, who is making his first ever start here in Monterey, and Pelichewski. There's Marciano and Joe Catania. They are at war for second in the gold category championship. Fred Keimer making only his second event start, but he's quick. He was on the podium in his first event start of this season at Circuit of the Americas. And there's a couple of guys, they didn't run in yesterday's race. Wayland and Cisneros not able to take the start. Not sure if they're going to be able to do it here, but it is time. The 2015 season is about to get underway. The pace car is in. Elliott Skier leads them up to the green with Colin Thompson and that orange Kelly Moss Porsche Bucks County machine alongside. Green flag, and Skier has a nose ahead, but Thompson in yesterday's race, he tried to force the issue around the outside here of the Andretti hairpin, ended up off track. Boy, he's not giving it up. All the way around the hairpin. He's there. He got squeezed a little bit. Right side tires in the dirt, but he's got the inside line for 3. Will Skier give it to him? I don't know that he's going to have an option. Oh, there's a little touch, another touch, Colin. These guys are already going at it again. Like I said, championships decided. This is a liberating go-for-it race.
Absolutely. This is one of the coolest starts where you can run side by side through the first couple corners. Oh, we see him touch there. Very aggressive start for both of these front runners here.
Absolutely pushing hard. That all-white car, that is Jesse Lazar. I think that is young Lucas Catania, giving him a run. A couple of great young charges. And Skier now looks like he may be losing his spot. He does as Benitez gets him. Boy, it took Benitez a couple of corners to make that pass stick, but he finally made it work. First time now up into the corkscrew. What a great field of cars. But Colin Thompson has already opened up a 3-4 car length lead.
Those guys racing side by side was a huge break for Colin. I mean, to get out to that big of a lead on lap 1 is massive in this series.
Yeah, it's huge, obviously. And again, there's Benitez, Skier, and Lazar. Those 3 guys have been the guys. 15 races so far this year, each of them with 5, but watching last year's champion now starting to drive away just a little bit. What do they need to do at this point? Not race, obviously, and just try and get up to him?
Absolutely. That's the biggest thing, is not racing, just focusing on hitting your marks, making really fast laps. You know, this Laguna Seca track's a place where you can really get in a good rhythm. It's got such a good flow. So much fun to be out there, and if these guys get in a rhythm, they can run Colin back down, no problem.
And just for for those of you wondering now, did Colin not race at all this year and he's just making his first start? No. In the World Challenge Series, there's a class within the GT Championship called the GT Cup by Momo, and he dominated that in this very car. They just had to make some subtle tweak changes, and of course they run on a different tire. So I think in that 15th round, Colin, he was maybe adjusting the things. Yes, Lazar trying to come up the inside of Skier. Couldn't quite get it done there in turn 5. But obviously Thompson, I think yesterday, maybe adjusting a little bit back to this platform, but seems to have made that adjustment pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely. The tire is quite a bit different. Obviously, we see here these guys are on Yokohamas. They run a different compound in the World Challenge Series. So it's the same car, but always different to adapt to a different tire, the way that it comes up to temp, the way it might go off during the race. Those are a lot of things that as a driver, you've got to really, really know. And it's tough when you come in a series, especially at the end of the season when everyone else has been doing it for the whole season. They know exactly the nuances of those tires. So really impressive to see Colin Thompson up here leading and being as dominant as he is in this second race of the weekend.
I mean, he was superb last year winning this championship. Now this year winning the World Challenge Championship that he did, certainly. And there is Angel Benitez. And it's interesting, Colin, since he joined the series after missing the opening 2 events, he joined at Watkins Glen. He has outscored those other 2 guys, the new champion Skier and Lazar, handily. Had he been in this from the beginning, this could have been a 3-way scrap.
Absolutely. You know, it's easy to sit there and always wonder, man, what if? You know, what if I would have joined at the start of the season? I would have won. So interesting, you know, not sure what went on to prevent him from joining earlier in the season, but obviously a very impressive season, and would have been great to see him up there scrapping.
Yeah, I mean, 2012 Gold Cup champion, and then the last 2 years, 2013 and 2014, more wins than anybody in the Platinum class. Just couldn't nail down that championship. And I think he may have had an opportunity this year as we have a look there at Casey Coleman once again, he is a Masters class driver, which means obviously over 45, but he always targets at least a top 5 overall. He said, I think that my pace should have me there, and he's in that spot right now. Boy, beautiful drift there by Thompson as he let it drop into that corkscrew.
That's a very interesting place to get that sideways. It's there's a big drainage kind of grate on the inside of the corkscrew. We've seen in the Tudor series, sometimes those guys come up over that grate, so it was really cool to see him sideways there trying to stay away from that big grate.
Well, Colin, all of these guys putting on a great display on track right now, but throughout this weekend at this Porsche Rennsport reunion, there's a great display not just on track but off. This is number 5. They only happen every 4 years, and the cars are the stars, like that one. Oh, nice. Colin Thompson has stretched his margin to over 2 seconds here in this 16th round of the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama at Mazda Raceway, Laguna, Seca in beautiful Monterey. But the battle for second, Colin, is fierce. Elliott Skier, again, he's already clinched the championship, so he's free to just go after it right now. And it must be frustrating him to see last year's champion drawing away like that, but he can't find a way around Benitez. You talked about it earlier. Not the easiest place to pass, this track.
No, a very challenging place to pass. I mean, you see a couple good passing opportunities going down into turn 1, which we're headed to right now, is a great passing opportunity. But beyond that, here as we see him taking a look, definitely on the brakes pretty late, really not far enough inside to make a move, but that's a great passing opportunity. Then we go into a next section of corners that are all fast, really challenging to make passes. We don't see it too often. And then you kind of have an opportunity maybe at the top of the corkscrew and then come into the last corner. But it's a challenging place. We see him just running bumper to bumper here. I mean, you can definitely be faster, but you just can't get around. Wow, big moment there, big moment.
Yeah, Skier dropping those left side tires big time. You know, every once in a while I'll see somebody try and make a pass here in 5, but as soon as you exit 5, you're climbing. It just kills your momentum. And we've got David Baker has gone around in his Apex Capital machine, but looks like he's off to the inside, not in the line. But you lose momentum if you try it in 5. And turn 6, to me, is one of the weirdest corners in North America because everything else here is flowing. That one's just angular.
It's fast. It's very fast, and it's got a huge apex curve. So if you get too far to the inside, you hit that, you bounce wide, and it's a very important corner. It leads on to a good straightaway uphill, so it's a really tough corner to get through. But so many of these places you can almost run side by side, which makes it that much harder to make a pass.
This is the other of the great passing zones, 11, but again, Skier just not quite close enough. As onto the front straight, this battle, 3rd, 4th, and 5th go, or 2nd, 3rd, and 4th goes once again. And going back to turn 6, along with everything you said, there's that, it dips right at the apex, so there's a weird compression there that, well, you've got to really be on it.
And you've got to know it's coming, because I'm telling you from the seat, and you turn into that corner, and you know the compression's coming. You just can't wait for it to grab you, make the car grip, and turn. And if that little compression wasn't there, I would think you'd have a lot of people sliding off the racetrack, more than we do.
Yeah, it's a tricky corner, that for sure, as we continue to watch this battle. There's Thompson, and again.
These guys are dipping wheels every lap.
Yeah, that's Skier. He did it last lap, and he's obviously trying to carry every ounce of speed, but when you do that, you dirty up those left side tires. In the next corner's a right-hander. That can't be helping.
Absolutely not. Maybe he's going for a little bit of, sort of the speed racer mentality, throwing dust down behind him, trying to help get a gap to the guy behind.
Looking here at this battle for 8th and 9th, that's Mike Shine right there. Nice job by Mike out of New York City, New York, doing a nice job. Veteran in this series, and this year is back for a full season. The guy behind him is about as opposite as it gets. Will Hardiman in that Wholesale Parts Direct more-speed car. A year and a half ago had never driven a race car of any type, but he's got tutelage from a guy named Price Cobb, and he's coming along. But boy, this is a tough place to have to learn.
Well, and that's what's really interesting and cool about this Porsche GT3 Cup series is you can come in this with little experience, no experience, a lot of experience, and there's sort of a place to race amongst, a group of your peers in any sort of experience level. And neat to see these guys out here battling, whether it's the front, the middle, the back of the pack. They're all having a great time and learning.
Well, and you find somebody that's running at your relative speed, so you end up in these great races. And I mean, how many times have we seen a guy get out of the car and he's just finished 10th with a grin because he's had a phenomenal battle? And Hardiman, Price Cobb has said the guy's got ridiculous raw skills. It's just he doesn't have the racecraft yet. Mike Shine is a polished racer. So these two guys obviously find themselves in a pretty solid little battle right now. And it's not like they're alone. They've got some company behind them as well, another of those Kelly Moss machines.
Well, in a place like this, talking about hard to pass, it's so important to sort of back those entries up, really focus on a good corner exit, because you don't really pass these kind of cars and these kind of corners into the corner. You make the pass leaving the last corner, get a great run, drag race down the straightaway, get next to him, and then outbrake him. So really got to focus on corner exits, and I see some of these guys kind of charging in a little bit too hard.
Oh, and this is a battle that has got a lot of attention here because Wayne Ducote comes in here 4th in Gold Cup points. The guy who's right behind him is Mark Yano in that circuit racing car from NGT. And he's the guy who's 2nd in the gold points right now, but doesn't have that big a lead over the guy who's chasing him, Joe Catania. He wants to get in front of Wayne and try and open up that lead just a little bit. We'll be right back with more. Stay with us. The battle continues here for 2nd in the Gold Cup class at this 16th round of the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama, of course, here at Mazda Raceway, Laguna, Seca. And you can see that battle is starting to stack up some guys behind him. And it looks like Yano's got the inside. And does he sneak through? I was wondering if we were going to see that other car make that move. He couldn't quite take advantage of it, but Yano finally makes the pass.
Well, and that was a perfect example of what I was talking about. There, Lano got a great exit at turn 4, was side by side with Wayne going into turn 5. Easy pass. Didn't have to dive bomb him on the brakes. That's a great example of really focusing on corner exits.
And you could see how well it paid off for him because he quickly opened up that little bit of a lead, and obviously at the time seems to be running a bit quicker than Wayne was.
Absolutely. I think he'll start driving away as Wayne has to try to fend off these 2 cars behind him here.
Yeah, and he's well motivated, obviously, to do that. The cars that we're looking at behind them, the 52 of Kurt Fazekas, having a good run as well. And I think that is the number 24 of Joe Catania. That's the story, because now 3 cars up is Yano, the white car. That 4th car in line, if you will, that 2nd orange car, that's Joe Catania, who's Yano's working with for this 2nd in the Gold Cup Championship. You know, we should point out there's another championship that is on the line. It's the Teams Championship between Wright Motorsports, who leads it coming in, and Kelly Moss. Well, guess what? Colin Thompson is running for Kelly Moss, so it's going to be interesting. And
Colin Thompson ran in the World Challenge Series for Kelly Moss, so it makes you wonder if they didn't bring in sort of a ringer and Colin Thompson to come and help win this team championship for him.
Yeah, it's going to be a busy stretch for Colin, obviously winning that championship, now running here, and then we hear rumors that he might be at the Petit Le Mans driving in a car there as well. So obviously just trying to get some experience, and Fazekas down to the inside. Boy, he almost overran that corner, Colin.
And see, that's another great example of you got to focus on those corner exits. You can't make those passes too late in the brake zone like that. So really focus on corner exit and he'll have a great run.
Yeah, now you can see how that slowed him down, and that allowed Wayne to get that little bit of a march on him as they run up the hill, and brought Joe Catania even closer to his rear wing, as there's Yano dropping through that corkscrew. That's the margin.
Well, and we talked about the team championships on the line. Also, a big factor here, we're at the Rennsport reunion. All the Porsche brass, all the Porsche factory drivers. There is so many eyes on this race right now that you know this is one that everyone's circled on their calendar. We got to run good here. A lot of people to impress. Really want to, you know, kind of make their mark, see if they can't catch some, you know, big wigs at Porsche's eye and try to get in their maybe factory program, junior program, something like that. So a lot of pressure for these guys out here this weekend.
It's interesting you mentioned that, because at this time last year, I'd mentioned that Elliott Skier really didn't know what he was going to be doing coming out of the MX-5 Cup. He got into the wide run there by Wayne Ducote. Have to see, he's got enough speed to be able to hang on to it, but boy, that's sketchy. See if Fazekas can come around the outside. He can't do it, but anyway, getting back to Skier, as I said, at this point didn't know what he was going to do, but got a shot as a wild card in the Porsche Young Driver Academy.
Absolutely.
Impressed them enough, and there's that recognition that they suggested him for the IMSA scholarship, which is how we got the seat this year, and he's won a championship. So it's important when you've got, as you said, these eyes on you.
Absolutely. I mean, you just think about it from their seat. They're here trying to make a career out of this, right? And there's the guys at the factory level at Porsche that are here, scouts watching what's going on. It's a lot of pressure beyond championships, beyond race wins.
And it's the last race of the year, and that if you can win or have a good performance there, that's the memory people carry. This guy has had nothing but memories this year. If he hangs on here, and he's done that all season long, it would be a remarkable 9th gold class win and a 12th win in Gold Masters in 16 starts. And he has said that Trixie, that's what he calls the car here, he said this may be his last race in Trixie, as is, because he's looking to finally make the move up into the Platinum class next year.
That would be great. You know, these cars are very similar. They drive very similar. I mean, lap times aren't incredibly different, as you mentioned earlier in the show. The downforce levels and the aggressive aero styling that the Platinum class cars have make them a little bit quicker in the high-speed corners, but you know, he'll have no trouble transitioning to one of those platinum cars.
Oh, without doubt. He's a heck of a talent. And these cars, you get on a track like a Road America with that less aggressive aero in a straight line, he's given platinum guys absolute fits there this year and in the past couple of years. Tremendous talent. Also runs in the Sports Car Challenge Series with Eric Foss, who is the guy who coaches him while he's on the racetrack in this series. And they've been a very successful duo in that category. As we now take a look at a great battle for 14th, led by Bill Pelichowski. You can always tell it's him with that World War II fighter plane motif on the car. Chased by the 89 Mexico entry of Oscar Arroyo, and right behind him, 00 Jay Patel, who's in a good season. I think his best season ever, easily, in terms of how he's running, especially in the Masters class, as he has 8 podiums in the Masters category right now. But Colin, this kind of goes back to what we were talking about. May not be for the lead, may not be for 5th. This is a furious scrap for 14th, and these guys are having a blast.
I can promise you they're having more fun than Colin Thompson out there just walking everybody. These guys are out there scrapping, battling, trying to, you know, fight for position tooth and nail. It's cool to watch.
Well, and Patel and Pelichowski, those two guys, that first car and the third car in your frame right now, they've been at war in the Masters class. They're teammates, but have been for the same team, but they have been racing each other furiously all year long. And for Oscar, to see him implanted right in the middle of them, it's an impressive run for Oscar here. Talk about impressive, though. Colin Thompson, boy, he is putting it together right now. That margin now up to over 4.5 seconds. Benitez second, Skier third, with Lazar in the 4th spot. And just recently we got some great news. This series is presented by Yokohama. They are the official tire supplier. They just announced a multi-year extension. And as a presenting sponsor, that's key. It means that the TV package will continue as well. But maybe the better news for all of the drivers is every one of them run on these Yokohama, these revolutionary ENV R2 tires. It's super environmentally friendly compared to other tires with remarkable performance. They have been a great partner and a great tire to roll on in this championship. They're back for a long time, which means we'll be around for a long time as well, bringing you the coverage of an absolutely remarkable championship, the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. Good news. Closing in on the halfway point here at Mazda Raceway, Laguna, Seca in the 16th and final round of the 2015 Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. And watching this battle, good one for 9th, Mike Shine, having himself a solid run. He's had a string of 4ths earlier in the year, but a little bit out of that positioning right now. But I think a big story, the guy behind him, Colin, that is David Ducote. He has been running the Gold Cup for the last year and a half at Circuit of the Americas in the most recent event. His car got pretty beat up. Ooh, and he just beat up on it there, hitting that grate you were talking about. But he didn't have a car to run. His teammate at Kelly Moss, Frank Seldorf, who wasn't racing here, said, here, run my Platinum car. And this guy's now out. I mean, he won it in round 15. He won the Platinum Masters class. So he's pretty comfortable already in these Platinum cars.
Absolutely. I'm sure he'll be looking at trying to get one of these cars for next year himself. They're a joy to drive, and you know, really nice. They have paddle shift system inside that works really, really well, and they're just a real blast to drive.
It's interesting. He started 2014 in a Platinum car, had an incident, moved to a Gold car, and just said, this thing just feels so good. I love it, and has stayed with it. But I think he's making the adjustment very well here. And again, we talked about, you know, Mike Shine, one of the experienced veterans of this category, and David is a Masters driver. Ooh, a bit of lock up there.
Ooh. And that's what we talked about a little bit earlier in the show too. It's easy to overdrive these corners, and even though they're fast corners, it's very, very important to maximize your straight line speed. That's where you can make a lot of lap time up. So what he did right there, drove in a little bit too hard, got it locked up. Now he's late to the power, late to the throttle, and slow down the straightaway. So those are the kind of mistakes you cannot be making.
And back to this battle we've been following. There's Wayne Ducote, running in 3rd in the Gold class right now with Joe Catania behind him. Now remember, it's Yano in the 22 car that's up in front of these guys, 2nd in Gold. If he can be there or right behind, obviously, Joe Catania there in that black and orange machine, that would get him that 2nd spot in the Gold category. That's why we're seeing, I think, Joe be a little bit edgy here and want through, and he may have just gotten a gift.
And you might be wondering too, Wayne Ducote, David Ducote, yes, they are related. Actually, yeah. Wayne's David's father. So neat to see these guys out here battling together on the racetrack.
Really is. We had a couple of races earlier in the year where they both ended up on the podium in their respective classes. So that's
cool.
That's some pretty special stuff indeed. But now watching Joe That is the New York Spine and Wellness Center car that is run by NGT, an absolute top flight program and team as well. As there's so many in this category, it's just impressive. We're talking about the battle between Wright Motorsports and Kelly Moss, but you've got some great other teams in there like JDX that Benitez runs for, NGT Motorsport, Top Racing that Mosing runs for, and this is a place specialist.
Even a Fall Line,
yeah,
Fall Line. They're in the Continental Tire Challenge Series. I mean, really top-notch teams here.
Yeah, Andrew Long, who's been a little bit quiet here this weekend, certainly in this one. Ooh, look at a little bit of over-rotation there for Ducote, but just didn't open that door enough, did he?
No, not quite enough, and certainly Wayne Ducote's taken the advantage of, maybe some defensive lines. We're seeing him as we see the pass there.
Yeah, that's our overall leader, Colin Thompson, coming. Boy, talk about a decisive move in traffic, Colin. That's how you want to work traffic.
Absolutely. He did a great job there, and getting through the lap traffic is very important. That's where you can make or lose quite a lot of lap time, as we see the nice gap he's already still got over the second place car.
Well, he got through them so cleanly. I mean, he threaded the needle beautifully. Now, Benitez and Skier and Lazar have to deal with those three cars, and they're going to catch him in much more difficult places to pass.
Absolutely. That was really nice job, and that might have gained him just a couple seconds, which is huge in these races. They're so short. We're talking 45-minute sprint races, right? So you really got to get everything you can.
Yeah, good point. We're just now past the halfway mark here. And again, Colin Thompson, his lead at the line was 4.6 seconds. So he opened it up a while ago to about 4.5, and it looks like maybe traffic and also just driving the gap at this point.
Well, and I think, he's through the next three cars,
yeah,
where the second place car, Benitez, has to pass these next couple guys. So he's down to a 4.6 second gap, but he's got 3 picks right here that they have to get through first.
We're going to see how these guys work the traffic, and it should be Benitez. I think he's going to be on the attack here. And here comes Catania again. And now Benitez, yep, he does slide through and gets by Menser, but he still has not been able to clear. Boy, Menser got forced off the line a little bit there as Skier dove underneath as well.
Well, and we see again, going back to Wayne, Wayne's running a lot of these mid sort of lines, right down the middle of the racetrack on entries as Benitez gets by nice and clean there. And he'll make the pass on Wayne into the last corner, turn 11 here, I'm sure. Oh. Nice pass.
Yeah, Wayne was started to close in and then realized that car was there and made the move. Track awareness when you've got traffic like this, especially on a track that's tough to pass, you've got to be up on your game.
Well, great point, especially when you're racing a guy right behind you, but there's also lap traffic coming through that's quicker. So it's one of those things where you've got to watch your meters, you've got to protect against the guys in your class, but also make it easy enough for the guys that are coming through that are much quicker to get through. So it's a challenging thing for both people involved.
And you have to anticipate, don't you? Because that one car coming through, you can't just assume it's just him, because there could be somebody tucked under his wing.
You can't, and on the flip side of that, it can be the guy that you're racing with for neck and neck in your class that's tucked under the wing of the car that's passing too. So really got to be heads up.
Well, sometimes we don't really think about that, do we? But sometimes the guys that are getting past, they open and close that door when it suits them.
Absolutely, and you sort of have to when you're in that tight of a battle, as we saw Wayne Ducote was. I mean, that's neck and neck, right?
Now, Benitez and Skier are through. It looks like Lazar finally was able to get through in his Garaga entry. Oh, nice rotation there by Benitez. Pick that throttle up nice and early.
Well, and think about it. Here we are. We're only 20 minutes to go in the race. These guys have been going as hard as they can on these tires, and they're certainly starting to make them, give up a little bit, slide around a little bit. So we're seeing some of that action.
Well, and you talked earlier about this track being low grip generally, but it also changes, doesn't it? Especially when you see guys throwing up dirt in the air, and that ends up on the track.
I can tell you from the Tudor side, when we go to these tracks, it's very tough. The sand blows on, really makes the racetrack ever-changing from lap to lap.
So you've got to be able to adapt, and currently it is Thompson doing the best job, Benitez chasing. Under 20 minutes to go, a great battle for the 11th spot here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca in our Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. Down into the Andretti hairpin. In Santiago, Creel got into the back of Jesse Menser, and Creel goes around, Colin.
A bit of a weird spin there, actually. He bumped him and then must have jumped on the brakes and actually spun himself out to avoid getting into the back of Jesse too hard.
Just unloading the rear tires at the wrong point in the
it's
corner.
One of those really on the front, really loaded up on the front tires points. As we take a look at the replay here, we see him just start to roll to the back bumper of Jesse, gives him a little bit of a tap, and that just loads the nose a little bit harder as he's probably jumping out of the throttle to avoid hitting him more and spins around.
When you're on the limit like that, it doesn't take much to get you to go around, does it?
Nice of him to not just run in the back of Jesse Menzer and spin him, so he kind of took himself out of it there.
Yeah, took one for the team here. Whoa, speaking of some great racing, that Shine and Ducati once again going at it. They have been absolutely at it here, this battle for 9th. And Ducati, I think he's a little frustrated right now because yesterday he won the Platinum Masters category, and today Casey Coleman is down the road, way out in front in that category. And I think Ducati is sitting here going, I can't get around this guy to go try and run him down.
It looks like he's got a little damage there on the right front. Maybe used up his bumper trying to get by Shine here, but it's going to be interesting these last 17 minutes here.
Well, he's sure been pressing. We saw him up and over that grate at the corkscrew and sideways everywhere else. But one thing David Ducati has always done is never left anything on the track, and he is one aggressive pilot. And right there, you can see him just going for the throttle, the back end just stepping out a little bit.
Yeah, and these are the corners here where you've really got to focus on not trying to pass in this corner, but look ahead, look to turn 5, look to turn 6, maybe look into the corkscrew and focus on getting really good corner exits and, you know, kind of setting those passes up. This is a place where you've got to think a couple corners ahead and set that pass up.
Make sure you get through 5 and 6 well as you start this long climb up the hill. It ends in a hurry when you drop off the corkscrew,
sure
but
does.
You climb and climb and climb forever here as Colin Thompson continues to run up front. That margin now up to, well, last lap just a tick over 5 seconds. We'll see what it is this time as that black machine with the Hertz on the front, the JDX Racing entry of Angel Benitez, is the guy that is in second as they continue to work through some traffic. And that margin still slightly by a hundredth or so, but still basically 5.2 seconds. So Thompson really is controlling this one.
Yeah, he absolutely is, and it's neat to watch him. I mean, he's obviously doing a really, really good job. He's got a lot of confidence coming in from the World Challenge Series. The performance he's had over there, I'm sure, brings him a lot of confidence as we see a little bit of a dip of wheels there again.
Yeah, that's our champion-elect here, Elliott Skier, and obviously, you know, he's the champion, so he can race and race hard, but we've seen him dropping tires all the time. He is pushing incredibly hard.
I'm sure he is. I'm sure from the driver's seat, there's a lot of pressure that he's seeing. You know, he's got a guy in Colin Thompson, had a great season, comes in for a one-off race. Elliott Skier, obviously our champion, wants to, you know, show how much of a supreme, you know, driver he is compared to a guy that's doing a couple one-off races, and it's got to be tough sitting there kind of getting driven away from right now by Colin Thompson. You kind of the last guy you want to get beat by, somebody who comes in and does just a couple races and is doing a great job.
At least he's a former champion, so that helps, I would think, a little bit here. As we're watching, you talked about the fall line team. There's Andrew Long, that blue Porsche with the orange nose, the Trianon Hotels entry. He has been like uber consistent. I mean, this is a homecoming in a way, because last year at Mazda Raceway, they're going to say the SCCA National Championship runoffs were held here, and he won the T2 championship in a Porsche 911 machine. So he said, this is comfortable ground for me here, but this season is first at this level. He's just strung together top 5s.
And that's the biggest thing, you know, being consistent in your first year, getting all the laps, getting all the experience. That's what's crucial.
So 2016 ought to be a good one for Andrew. Make sure and join us in our coverage. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca and this 16th and final round. Hate to say that, it's been such a great year of this Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. We've been watching this battle all race long. That blue and yellow machine of Wayne Ducote, a little bit different line into the Andretti hairpin. He really just keeps it a little bit wide out there, chased hard by Joe Catania. And Joe is just watching Marciano get away and solidify that lock on second in the gold class. Yeah,
absolutely. I'm sure he's wishing that Wayne wouldn't make such a defensive line, but interesting to see as we see a bit of damage here.
Yeah, Wild Bill looking like he has been a little bit wild out there. Damage to that front end, especially the right side of that car as he comes walking. No, we've got 2 cars off. That's Skier. That's your champion-elect. The first one that's in the tires, Colin.
Looks like turn 6.
Getz, yeah.
I can say that maybe from experience, but that looks like turn 6.
Oh, I hate to hear that, too. Boy, this is unbelievable. We saw how hard Skier was driving, and you wonder if maybe he just didn't push it a little bit too much, and maybe got caught in some traffic with John Getz. I mean, we did not see the incident, so it's all speculation at this point, but boy, not the way skier, after winning the championship with a dominating run in round 15, to end up in the barriers here in the last race of the season.
No, and both of those cars aren't going to go anywhere. As we see the safety car coming out here to pick up the leader, those guys are buried in the gravel, and definitely going to have a caution to drag those cars out.
Yeah, now Colin Thompson's going to have to back way down, let that pace car get up and come around him here, and that's Mark Yano right behind him. So that's kind of actually good news for Yano, because that almost gives him a lap clear of everybody else that he's been racing with in that gold class from second on back, doesn't it?
Absolutely, and that's going to be a big break for him.
Everybody's got to come around at this point. And now we're hearing from race control that there may have been some fluid down in the approach and exit of turn 6. I wonder, we saw the damage to Pelichowski, that right side?
I think so. You know, with these Porsches, they have the radiators up front in the front bumper area on the right-hand side, the left-hand side, so it would make sense with that damage on the right front we saw that he might have just popped the radiator. It doesn't take a whole lot with the way the bodywork's structured up there for it to come loose and just poke through the radiator and leak the fluid out.
Well, we were talking about the commitment you have to have in that turn 6, so if you're dancing on the edge and you hit something like that, see ya.
Well, and you know, as drivers, we rely on the corner workers to try and put a flag out there that lets us know, hey, there's something down, fluid down, gravel down, that might be a little bit of an issue. And if you're, you know, second, third car through there and those guys don't have that flag out yet, you have no idea what you're turning into. And you know, a commitment corner like turn 6, and one of these cars is 4th gear, so you are you're not going to have a whole lot of room to catch it, and next thing you know, you're off the track like that.
Well, you know, and I think you make a great point, because when we were watching the progression of our leading group up through the traffic, they would have been catching that Pelichowski battle in that area, so they may have come up on that before the workers could react and get that flag out. They certainly have it out now, as you can see, the double yellows, and a nice opportunity to say thanks to the workers at every event that we run on. They're volunteers, folks, and as you point out, they provide huge information to drivers if you're smart enough to be looking at them.
They do a great job, and you know, they're there obviously to let us know when there's accidents for the safety side of things, but also they have blue flags letting you know, hey, there's a faster car coming up behind, watch your mirrors, and they provide a lot of great information for us drivers that help us stay safe and make good choices.
See, you pay attention. I love the corner work, and you ask a lot of drivers, what does the blue flag mean? And they think it's the passing flag. It's by rule, it's check your mirrors. Is what it means. Now, unofficially, it's there's a great race going on, and you're currently not in it.
So watch out. Don't mess it up. Don't mess it up.
Absolutely. So we continue under caution here as the pace car, a beautiful Porsche in and of itself, as you might expect at a Porsche Rennsport reunion here, is now out in front of Colin Thompson. And boy, you can see the crowd here. This Rennsport reunion, it's like the Olympics of Porsche motorsport, because it only happens every 4 years, and the cars that come out for this thing, it brings the fans, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, unbelievable experience walking around here, looking at all the people that are coming out, you know, seeing all these fans out here. It's just incredible. Not to mention all the cool cars. I mean, some of the neatest stuff you've seen, some, you know, stuff out of museums, things that you're jaw-dropping that they're actually driving on the racetrack and racing. I mean, they look like they should be in a glass case in a museum forever.
Well, it's literally where Porsche's racing history comes alive, and that's what's so cool. You get to see cars that, you know, were racing so many years ago, and the 917s and the like. I mean, that's the magic era, obviously, of sports car racing to a lot of people, and it's just an absolute joy. And it's neat to see what would be the modern descendants of those, like these machines out actually running. And it's such an honor for these guys. It's the first ever professional race series to run as part of a Porsche Rennsport reunion. That's pretty cool.
That's huge. And as we see, they're trying to dig out poor Elliott Skier's car here. And, you know, that's a tough day when you kind of get taken out of an event. I mean, nothing that Elliott did wrong. You come across fluid on the racetrack, slide off into the fence. I mean, there's nothing you can do about that. So that's a really frustrating day, and you know, unfortunate that has to happen. But hey, that's big time auto racing.
Things bite you sometimes, don't they? And you know, that's part of the learning experience. And one of the things about this series is it's listed as kind of a Pro-Am championship, where you've got the young guns that are coming up looking to make the career, and then you got the older savvy veterans that are racing for a while. They're not looking for a future. They just love racing in this series. It's a destination series, and in the end, they put on a great show. We'll be back with more of it in just a minute. We continue under caution here in this final round of the 2015 Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. Colin Thompson, that orange Porsche of Bucks County Kelly Moss racing machine, continues to lead it, but that big margin has gone away that he had. Don't know if we're going to be able to go back to green. Still possible, but you know, you've been in this scenario before, Colin. What are you thinking at this point where you just don't know?
Yeah, these are the worst times because you have a long time to ride around under yellow. Only thing with you is your thoughts. You're not working too hard, so you're letting all this build up in your mind that, wow, if we go back to green, I don't get a great restart, maybe slip up in the first corner, I could lose this race. And I've led the whole thing for 40 minutes under green, had a big lead, but you just got to keep your mind in check and make sure that you're focused on, hey, if this thing goes green, my tires are ready, I'm ready to get back after it and go.
That's the mark of a pro, is you got to be ready for what's going to come, and if it doesn't,
if it doesn't,
it doesn't.
Then you spent 8 minutes worrying about nothing. So that's always nice.
But you got to make your own luck, and that's that preparation here. And as the field comes down now behind the pace car, by the time they cross the line, there'll be less than a minute to go. This one is not going to be able to go green. And I'm sure now the conversation between, there it is, the checker comes out right now. So Colin Thompson has done it. Wow. In only his second start in this series this year, the first one being yesterday, he ends up with a win. And he's out there doing a little bit of celebrating, obviously. I think maybe he wanted to donut it up a bit and realized, now I got the whole field right behind me here. But, wow, what a story.
What an impressive drive, you know, to come in here and in his second race back against guys that have done this the whole season and win in what I think is quite a dominating performance. I mean, he just crushed him today. Yeah,
he controlled it, no question. You can see, I'm sure he's celebrating inside the car. Here's an interesting stat for you, including these two races and then in the World Challenge Series he ran in. This would be his 18th start. This is his 14th win. 13 in World Challenge and 1 of 2. Wow.
That's batting a pretty darn good percentage, I'd say, for the season.
Not too shabby, as he is enjoying this moment, boy. And like we said, what a great way for him to finish his year in one of these Porsche, these GT3 Cup machines. Absolutely fantastic. So congratulations to him. Again, Elliott Skier, kind of an ignominious way to end it, buried in the tires, but he's still champion, and that's huge.
It is. I'm sure both of these guys are, you know, trying to hope and make sure in their minds that all the Porsche brass are standing out there watching what's going on. I'm sure they'll be handing out business cards when they get out of their cars here, and you know, if they ever need somebody, give me a call.
Give me a call. Keep me in mind. And here's Jeff Mosing flashing the lights to the corner workers, saying a big thank you. An amazing year for him. Just to throw out, I think I mentioned it before, but this was his 9th win in gold, and it will be his 12th win in Gold Masters of, again, 16 starts. Just an incredible year. And I think Jeff had mentioned that this may be his last race in gold and that he might be moving up to platinum. I think he's shown he is ready for it, as Colin Thompson has shown. And we'll be back. We'll have some interviews for you and the results. Stay with us. So the 2015 season is complete, and Colin, obviously, lots of people here looking at cars off the track.
They got a great show on the track, though. Man,
yes,
that was exciting.
Yes,
really good race.
Boy, fantastic stuff. Round 15 as well, both of them this weekend. Here is your winner, Colin Thompson. Again, what a remarkable story. In only his second race in this series after winning it last year, only his second race this year, and to have that kind of a run. That's a happy camper right there, I would think. And there's Jeff Mosing again, just putting an exclamation point on an absolutely dominant.
A little bit excited, I'd say.
You know what? He is the most enthusiastic guy. When he walks onto a podium, whether he's first, second, or third, he gives a yell, and he gets it, as does Elliott Skier, who is a champion. What a fantastic story for Elliott. And again, coming up through that ladder, if you will, that Porsche Young Driver Academy, and then getting the IMSA scholarship. And take a look here now at our final results for this final round of the championship. Thompson with the win over Benitez and Lazar. Gattani and Kuhlman completing the top 5. Casey Kuhlman's 5th. That clinches the team championship for Wright Motorsports, so that was huge. 11th overall, Mosing with another win. Yano, you see it, that second place, that second in the gold class championship. Well done to him. But we have a champion overall and in the platinum class. It is Elliott Skier, a rookie. Let's hear from him.
This year has been absolutely incredible. Everything from the first weekend in the Young Driver Academy, when I had the opportunity to be evaluated in front of Porsche and see if this was the right fit for me for the year. Everything went well there, and it all worked out into a ride for the season at GT3 Cup. And I've always liked Porsches. I've always enjoyed driving them. They fit my style, so I'm really happy with the transition into the car. It was pretty quick, and I got comfortable in it and just went through the year, tried to be consistent, tried to get a lot of podiums, and it paid off.
Well, he's a Porsche history freak, too, so he's just enjoying this event immensely. There you see it. He is your champion. Even with that off, he's still 11 points clear of Lazar. Benitez third. Who knows had he started the whole season long. And Coleman at COTA, an event back, clinching the Platinum Masters Championship. In the gold category, it was Jeff Mosing all year long, Yano second, and Catania third. But for Mosing, he too clinched the gold and gold Masters Championship at Circuit of the Americas. We found him just a little bit earlier this weekend.
I think I finished third last year in the gold and first in Masters. So we still had something left to do here in the Porsche GT3 Cup with gold. And again, you know, these older cars, although not as technically advanced as the newer ones, they're just an absolute blast to drive. They move around a little bit, you know, they're just a lot of fun to drive. And so I wanted to do it one more year and try to get a little bit more experience with the car before moving up into the platinum class.
Well, it's going to be fun to see what he can do in that category, certainly. And what an event it has been. Just look at the cars on display that are everywhere you look here at this Rennsport Reunion 5. What a treat for these guys to be a part of it. And Colin, a treat for me to be able to work with you here. It's been an absolute blast. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. What a great season. Obviously, a great race today. Really looking forward to what next year is going to bring. It's going to be a nail biter for sure.
Boy, it just sort of is bittersweet, isn't it? You wrap up a season like this, but you can't wait for the next year to start because of how intense it has been. Thank you, everybody, for joining us all season long here in the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. We love bringing the coverage to you. We look forward to doing it again next year. We hope you all come back. For Colin, I am Greg Creamer. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great off season. We'll see you in 2016.
California!